going over my Japanese with me this morning.
Oh, cool.
That's not how you say that, Grandpa.
Oh,
That doesn't mean anything, Grandpa.
that's awesome. That's exactly how my daughter used to be with my mom. She'd be like, "That's not how you say it," and she'd be like, "Well, I am trying my best." No
fun.
filter. All right. Does it say that I'm recording on your guys's? I just want to check.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And you can hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Today I did something a little different. I did a which one is correct? So we're going to read the two and then you can decide which one is correct. But how do you want to do it? Do you want to have like, I don't know, 2 minutes to read them on your own and choose the answers first? Or do you want to read them as a class and choose the answer?
Are they side by side?
Yeah.
Question answer?
Right.
Okay.
So there are two statements and one of these two are correct.
Okay.
So do you guys want to read them silently and choose, or do you want to read them and choose as we go?
It doesn't matter to me.
Your call, Sensei.
All righty. Because also if you wanted to, you could read the Japanese version that Nathan-san created for us down here, but I'm trying to see. Nathan, did you make it so that all of them are on one line? Oh, you're so
Except the last one.
Wow, that's amazing.
Nice.
So
Because the last one was just too long.
Yeah, fair enough. So if you wanted to practice reading, if you don't need the Romaji, your eyes won't even look at it. But if you do need it, then obviously your eyes will look at it. Let me share this with you guys, and I'll just give you like 2 minutes just to look at it and choose which one is correct and which one is not correct. If you weren't here and you have no idea, don't worry about it. Just read them just to read them. And if you were here, then you might remember or have forgotten the answer. But I'll just give you 2 minutes. And if you have questions, let me know. All right, we have san, ni, ich. All right. So let's go through. Can I have a Japanese reader and an English translator? Who wants to be the Japanese reader? Hi, Brandon-san. And who would like to be the English reader? Marvin-san. All righty. And I saw everybody raise their hand, so I'll just rotate through because it just so happens that it's Brandon then Marvin on my Zoom anyways. All right. So Brandon-san, onegai shimasu.
I guess would you pronounce that as Marvin?
Vin.
Marvin wa Coca-Cola shika hoshiku nai desu.
Right, Marvin-san.
And Marvin does not want Coca-Cola.
It's shika hoshikunai. This is
Marvin, got it. Okay. Yes, shika hoku. Okay, so Marvin wants only Coca-Cola.
Nice job. And then the other option is Brandon-san.
Marvin wa zenbu. Marvin wa zenbu ga hoshii desu.
Right.
And Marvin wants everything.
Right, nice job. So which one is correct? A or B? We'll say A on this side and B on this side.
Well, knowing me, B.
B. Hi, Hakushu. That's right. I should say 1 or 2. That way you
'Cause then
guys
we
can
can
show me
show
with
us,
your
yeah.
fingers. I just looked at Nathan. Thanks, Nathan. So 1 is on the left and 2 is on the right. So 2 is right. Marvin-san wa zenbu ga hoshii desu. はい、そうですね。はい、let's do Josh-san. Do you want to read the Japanese and then Nathan-san English?
Can I do the next line in English?
You don't want to do this one in English?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I can do this one. It's okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So Josh-san, will you read the Japanese?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
お願いします。
Nathan wa Coca-Cola ga hoshii desu.
And then I'm going to have Nathan translate. Sorry that I unhighlighted it.
Nathan wants a Coca-Cola.
Right. And then Josh-san.
Nathan wa Coca-Cola ga hoshii nai desu.
Beautiful.
Nathan
Nice
doesn't
job.
want a Coca-Cola.
はい、そうですね。
Sorry,
Is that-
there's no maru at the end, but it wouldn't fit
It
the
wouldn't
whole
fit.
sentence. So
Right.
I just took it off.
It's all good. So is it ichi? Nathan wa Coca-Cola ga hoshii desu or hoshikunai desu? Which one is it? Ichi or ni? And if you have no idea because you weren't here, you can just guess or you can just smile. It's ni. Nathan-san wa Coca-Cola ga hoshikunai desu. Nice job. All right, let's do Andrew-san, Japanese, and Nicole-san, English.
はい。す
お願い
いません。
します。
はい。ネイさんは、クレイグのウォッカが欲しいです。
And then Nicole-san, can you read that one in English or translate it?
So Nathan wants Craig's vodka.
Yeah, nice job.
ネイさんは水しか欲しくないです。
And Nathan only wants water.
Right, perfect. All right, is that a ichi or a ni? It's a ni. Nathan wa mizu. This is the sign for mizu. It's W on your chin, water. ASL for water. Mizu shika. This means only. Shika hoshikunai desu. Nice job.
I just wanted to be able to say nothing but.
Nice. All right, let's do Nicole-san, will you read the Japanese, and then Brandon-san, will you say the English?
Yan wa Coca-Cola ga hoshii desu.
Jan wants Coca-Cola.
Right?
Yan wa mizu to Coca-Cola mo hoshii desu.
Right? It builds it. All
Jan
right.
wants water and Coca-Cola.
Yes. And then I added the mo. Do you remember what mo is? It's kind of like toe, but it's also. But I think either way, you can still translate the sentence to as Jan wants water and Coca-Cola. Maybe even Jan wants water and also Coca-Cola. Either way.
Okay.
Alrighty, so which one is correct? Ichi or ni? Which one? Yan-san's not here, but I remember her answer. It's ni. This is one of those tests where you're like, is this actually like all of the answers are two, or is my teacher just playing a trick on me? Alrighty, let's do Marvin-san Japanese, Josh-san English.
Nikoru wa misu to ocha mo hoshi desu.
Nicole wants water and tea.
Yeah.
Nikoru wa ocha shika hoshi kunai desu.
Nicole only wants tea.
Hi. Alrighty, is that an ichi or a ni?
Ichi.
Ichi.
I think it's ichi too, but Nicole is saying ni, so now I'm confused. I thought we said you wanted water at the end too.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember what I said.
Maybe
I
That's a
very
week
well
ago.
could have said number one.
fair enough. Today it's number two, but yeah, last week it was. I think it was one last week. We can go back and watch the video. All right. Nice job, you guys. How about Nathan-san Nihongo, Andrew-san Eigo?
Ashley wa mizu ga hoshii desu.
Ashley wants water.
Ashley wa mizu shika hoshikunai desu.
Ashley only wants water.
Nice. I picked the perfect sentence for you to read in English, Andrew.
Okay.
Because of water. When Australians say water, it's like the perfect accent.
Water.
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 Water. Yep.
Water.
Water? Water. She wants nothing but water.
So which one is it? Ichi or ni?
Ni.
I just forgot.
It was
I
ichi
forgot
too.
that I forgot to answer.
Ichi. I think it's ichi.
It's two.
You sure it's two?
We both Ashley and I last week only wanted
Ah,
water, but
Perfect. All
maybe I
right.
don't remember right either.
It's okay. That's more important that we're practicing. These are good sentences to practice reading because they're so repetitive. And if you notice, if you watch the cold character reading video, it's exactly this. I just took out some of them so it wasn't like a 10-minute video of me reading the same thing. Alrighty, and next, Nicole-san Nihongo, Brandon-san Eigo, onegaishimasu.
Does that mean I'm doing it in Japanese?
はい、お願いします。
Okay. Kuregu wa. How do you say the?
So this actually, the X isn't really a sound. It's just you have to type X to make a small O. So this is typing Romaji. That's how you type. So it's actually volka.
Okay.
Volka.
Oka to ruto bia ga hoshi desu.
Nice job.
Craig wants vodka and root beer.
right? And then
フレグはコカ・コーラとルタビアが欲しいです。
Craig
Alright,
wants
is that-
Coca-Cola and root beer.
上手。Alrighty, is that an ichi or ni? Ichi. I love how everyone's saying ichi. Boo boo, ni desu.
Oh,
Alrighty, but he was drinking it in his cup, at least in our when we were
he
talking.
said.
But he said he wants Coca-Cola and Lutobia. Alrighty, any questions for me about these little sentences? No? You guys did a great job at reading, translating. What would you rank your comprehension? 5, I could understand everything easily. 4, I could understand everything. 3, with my notes, I could understand everything. 2, with my notes, I could understand some of it. And 1, the sucks. Ooh, nice job. Right, Nathan. You just translated it, but you didn't, or you just wrote it, but you didn't understand anything you wrote.
Nope.
Alrighty. Thank you guys. Okay, let's go to our story. And I think I have it all fixed, so it's Nathanized, but we're gonna test it out. So this is the first time I've ever used it now that it's been fixed. And I would love your feedback on it. So, Mina-san,
はい。
Hi.
はい。
ジョージはコカ・コーラが欲しいです。
えー、
Hey.
はい、そうです。Nathan さん、
はい。
誰がコカ・コーラが欲しいですか？
ジョージはコカ・コーラが欲しいです。
はい、そうですね。
もちろん。
もちろん、ジョージはコカ・コーラが欲しいです。Nathan さん、
はい。
あなたもコカ・コーラが欲しいですか？
私はコカ・コーラが欲しくないです。
そうですね。あなたはコカ・コーラが欲しくないです。皆さん、
はい。
は
Hi.
い。
Nathan はコカ・コーラが欲しいですか？
いいえ。
いいえ。
Yeah.
欲しくない。
そうですね。
Hoshikunai.
Nathan さんはコカ・コーラが欲しくないです。So, in this sentence, I did the word for word translation. There's still the meaning for meaning translation. So, ジョージはコカ・コーラが欲しいです。And in this sentence, the des just kind of adds politeness. So that's what that little smile is, and you'll see it randomly. Sometimes it kind of means is or are, but a lot of the time it just kind of adds politeness. So it's helping the Hoshi. Yes, Marvin-san.
Just a real quick definition of wa and ga once more
Oh.
as they're used.
Yeah, good question. So wa is our topic marker. So it's telling us who we're talking about in this sentence. And ga is our subject marker. It's telling us what we're talking about.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So the wa, George wa Coca-Cola ga hoshi desu. So
Okay.
it could be Marvin wa zenbu ga hoshi desu. Zenbu hoshi desu. Good question. Keep asking me that
Okay.
every single time until it gets locked into your brain.
That's
And
what I'm trying to do.
you'll start noticing it. You'll just, that wow will come right away after whoever we're talking about. in these
Where
sentences.
where it escapes me is when I'm free forming
Yes,
and
I
like make I'm-
totally understand. That's exactly how my brain is with Chinese and Spanish too. I
No.
totally get it when my teachers are talking, and then when it's my turn, I'm like, sentence, what? All right, Nicole-san,
はい。
あなたは 何が欲しいですか？
私はお茶と水も欲しいです。
おお、そうですか。あなたはお茶と水が欲しいです。おお、そうですか。ニコルさん、
はい。
マットさんは何が欲しいですか？
お茶
お茶
?OK 。お茶。マットはお茶が欲しいです。
おお、そうですか。
おー、そうです。
マットさんはお茶が欲しいです。マットさん、
はい。
あなたは水が欲しいですか？
はい。私はお茶と水が欲しいです。
おお、上手。そうですか。あなたはお茶と水が欲しいです。おお、上手です。Alrighty. ブランドンさん。
はい。
あなたも水とお茶が欲しいですか？
いいえ。私はお茶しか、欲しくないです。
おお、そうですか。あなたはお茶しか欲しくないです。おお、そうですか。皆さん、
はい。
は。
はいい。
はい。
誰がお茶しか欲しくないですか？
Brandon。
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 そうですね。ブランドンはお茶しか欲しくないです。Marvin さん。
はい。
Can you translate into English what Brandon wants, what Nicole wants, and what Matt wants?
Translate into English. Brandon wants tea. Nicole wants water. I can't remember.
I'll give you a hint.
Oh, tea. And who was the other person?
Matt.
Oh, Matt wanted tea and water.
はい、上手です。Alrighty. Let's see. Nathan-san,
はい。
can you give me a setsume? Pick 3 people and tell me what they want or don't want.
うん。ブランドンはコカ・コーラが欲しくないです。ブランドンは、お茶しか欲しくないですから。Nicole さんは、sorry Brandon, I didn't sign you. Nicole さんは、コカ・コーラ、no. Nicole さんは、お茶しか欲しくないですから、コカ・コーラが欲しくないです。
Nicole-san はお茶と水が欲しい。
お茶と水が欲しくないですから、コカ・コーラが欲しいだから、欲しいですから、コカ・コーラが欲しくないです。
Oh,
is there one more?
You can if you want.
私はコカ・コーラが欲しくないですから、私は水しか欲しくないです。
おー、上手です。はい。ブランドンさんはお茶しか欲しくないです。だから、コカ・コーラが欲しくないです。ニコルさんはお茶と水が欲しいです。だから、コカ・コーラが欲しくないです。ネイタンさんは Mizu shika hoshi kunai desu. Dakara Coca-Cola ga hoshi kunai desu. Do you guys have any questions about what I just said? Yeah, Marvin-san.
So the dakara is just, you're just saying therefore,
Exactly.
likes all this, therefore doesn't like that. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
As I-
Just to have.
Nathan was putting that in too, and
Yeah. Nice. I'm glad that you asked that.
not sure if it was something special.
It's always
And I was
special.
trying to use kara because
You
it's hard
use
for
kara.
that's hard for me to
Uh-huh.
think about. So I want to practice
Right.
the kara.
Nice.
So tell me kara again, because
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
because
kara
But you-
goes at the end of the statement. So Nathan wa mizu shika hoshi kunai desu kara. So because of that, Coca-Cola ga hoshi kunai desu.
oh, thank you.
And I said, Nathan wa mizu shika hoshi kunai desu. Dakara Coca-Cola ga hoshi kunai desu. So Nathan, will you translate my two sentences
Yeah,
for me?
the first one was Nathan wants nothing but water, and because of that, he doesn't want Coca-Cola.
Mhm.
And then the other one was Nathan wants nothing but water, therefore he doesn't want Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
So shika hoshi kunai is only wants,
Yeah.
Right,
wants
only
nothing
wants
but.
wants nothing
Yeah.
but, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Let's do Nicole-san.
Wait, Matt has
I
a question
have a
first.
question.
Oh yeah, please ask.
So, and it's Coca-Cola ga shika hoshi kunai, not shika Coca-Cola ga hoshi kunai? Or,
Yes.
or can you say
Um,
it, or
Coca-Cola shika hoshi kunai.
okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good question. Thank you for asking that.
And the shika replaces the ga.
Right. You only want that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Coca-Cola shika hoshi kunai. Yeah, great question. Alrighty, Nicole-san.
Hi.
Setsume o shite. Go ahead and pick 3 people.
Okay. Nathan wa mizu shika hoshi kunai desu. Brandon wa ocha shika hoshi kunai desu. Watashi tachi ga or wa ocha to mizu ga hoshi desu. Watashi wa Coca-Cola ga hoshi kunai desu.
Oh, Joel's good.
uh,
Nice job. And reminder, what does watashi tachi mean?
We.
We, right. And it can be watashi tachi, meaning like all of us in Zoom watashi tachi. It just means you're including watashi, yourself, and whoever else you're talking about watashi tachi. So in this case, Nicole-san is saying watashi tachi for her and Matt. Watashi tachi wa mizu to ocha ga hoshi desu. Nicole-san wa Coca-Cola ga hoshikunai desu. Brandon-san wa ocha shika hoshikunai desu. Nathan-san wa mizu shika hoshikunai desu. Nice job. Alrighty. I'm going to give you not 2 minutes. 44 seconds. And I want you to mute yourself and describe the situation. And Nicole-san, since you were able to describe it for the class, I want you to listen to Matt-san describe the situation to you. All right, ready, set, go. time. Alrighty. So hopefully if you ran out of things to talk about, you could talk about yourself, you could talk about strangers, you can talk about whatever makeup things. I forgot to tell you guys that until afterwards, but next time. Thumbs up if you were able to talk that full 44 seconds. Side if you were almost able to, and down if not yet. Oh, Nathan-san.
So, I was thinking about something totally unrelated. Well, not
You're
unrelated. It
just
was
mirroring
Japanese,
me.
but I was just mirroring you.
Awesome. Earlier, you were like, I got a 1 for my confidence and reading. I couldn't speak for the 44 seconds. I was watching you talk, though, unless you weren't speaking in Japanese.
Oh, it was Japanese. Yeah.
Okay. And then how about, what was your confidence? I could say everything I wanted to say easily. I could say what I wanted to say. I could say what I wanted to say with the slides or my notes. I could say most of what I wanted to say with my slides and notes, or this sucks. What would you rank your confidence? Ooh. Alrighty. Okay, nice job, you guys.
Yeah. The annoying thing is when I want to use kara and I've said the wrong sentence before because my brain is not yet thinking about meaning.
Mhm.
And I should be thinking about meaning more than the sentence, but so I said watashi wa Coca-Cola ga hoshikunai desu kara, and then I'm like, well, I can't say what I wanted to say after this because then I want to say watashi wa mizu shika hoshikunai desu, which
You could
doesn't
say
make any
that.
sense.
No, that makes sense. Because I
But
don't
if
want
I say
Coca-Cola, I only want water.
that doesn't really make sense.
I get it, though. I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So it's just that's why I want to practice this kara
Practice.
business.
Yeah, keep practicing it. We'll add it for more things.
Because
all
I'm
right.
not used to thinking of the reason why before
After,
before I
yeah.
say it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because in English we would say, "Oh, I don't want this, and this is the reason why."
Gotcha.
But in Japanese, this is the reason why I don't want this.
Right. That's why I kind of was sneaking in the dakara, because I feel like it gives our English brains.
But it doesn't always work.
True.
Because if I like that sentence, if I say, I don't want Coca-Cola, therefore I only want water, it doesn't make sense either.
Right, but you could just change it to Coca-Cola ga hoshikunai desu. Dakara mizu ga hoshi desu. You could say it that. But yeah, but even if you said mizu shika hoshikunai desu, I doubt people are going to be like, oh, that's an awkward sentence. They'll be like, oh, he only wants water. He doesn't want Coke. I got it. You're okay.
True.
Especially if you just power out a full sentence, they'll be like, whoa, okay, I guess you speak Japanese, so you're good. Alrighty. I'm going to go to the next sentence and remind me, did we do this sentence before? Because I remember
Yes.
this class,
3
we
weeks
kind of
ago.
went forward and then we went back.
Right.
Josh-san, have you ever seen this sentence before?
It was the week before Josh joined.
Ah, okay. And then
Yeah,
Matt-san,
Nicole mentioned that last week.
yeah, that's what I was trying to remember.
Because she has her
for us.
notes.
Yeah. Matt-san, did you ever
Notes.
watch any of the videos with the ikimasu one?
Yeah, I did a speed run through some of the videos.
I don't
but this one I might not have seen.
All
I
right.
didn't watch this one, but honestly, I don't really remember it that much, even though I watched it or even though I was there, because
No
it's
worries.
been a while. So
No worries. Okay, we'll just kind of go with this one and we'll add some hoshis and we'll just make it wider instead of longer or whatever, however we described it in our
But
Deeper-
it looks
deeper
at first
to the
glance.
Deeper.
It looks at first glance like it's similar to saying someone is in a place, but you're just saying going to instead of is.
Ikimasu.
Yeah. All right. Minasan,
Hi.
Hi.
Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu.
Eh? そうですか?
So Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu. And I'll do it one more time. Georgie wa, so this wa is saying it's George. Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu. And this little ni is a directional. It's just pointing to where, going to. Before it was in. So I guess it could be directional too, right? In something, to something. So, hi, Nathan-san. Thank you for asking me.
Brandon-san.
Oh, okay, Brandon-san. I was going to ask Brandon next.
I have a question about that rejoinder. When people go "he,"
Oh, yeah.
is that like is that the usual response to kind of just like I guess how we go kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
to me it kind of sounds like it's like, really? I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's that too. It's all of this. So it's just a reaction sense. So if somebody says, George went to Chicago, and you're like, oh, really? You could be like, eh? And if you said, George doesn't have a Coca-Cola, eh? Kind of like, oh no. So yeah, it's just a natural sound. So more or less the way that you would say, oh, in English is the way you would say the eh in Japanese.
Huh.
Yeah,
But
I've
then
asked Missy that before too, because to me it feels like we're saying, "Hey," like we can't believe it, or like it's whatever, you know,
Yeah.
instead of where we go,
Yeah.
oh, and hey, it's not really Japanese.
We have to remember that everything that Missy says is amazing. That's why we have to go
Right.
every single time.
Hey,
But yeah, it is really natural. If you go to Japan or just watch shows, when people are listening, more like watching people being interviewed on the streets and stuff, you'll hear people having conversations and they're like, eh, 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 like that. So it's kind of like and yeah and oh and wow, and really it's all of those things. It's just the sound for it. Yeah.
I think
See,
it's just more the
notice it more.
inflection that we
Yes.
use, sounds that we're using right now in response to your statements, sounds like we're disbelieving or like shocked each time, versus when we use the oh in the other languages, it's like, oh, I get it, or like, oh, like, oh. Is that what you mean, Brandon? Like,
Yeah, I guess because every time I hear that, it just to me sounds like very, very shocking. Like that's what your reactions are, like,
Yeah.
what, really?
but I can also say from dating a Japanese person that they just kind of do that all the time. Like there's this he explained to me that there's this culture of overreaction, that when
Yes.
someone says something to you, you have to overreact. Like that's like that's what you're supposed to do as a sign of respect and that you're listening.
More
So,
like it's in public, you mean?
no,
Or-
like even
or
in private,
one-on-one.
like
Okay.
yeah. So I would say things and he would just be like, hey, like or something would happen and he'd go and I'd be like, who died? And he's like,
That's how
oh no,
Nicole
I
reacts
just
to
like
most things anyway. So I'm used to that.
what?
That's how Nicole
Oh,
reacts. to
Nicole,
most
yeah.
things anyway.
But just the smallest things would just way overreact, and I'd be startled, like, oh my gosh. And it was just that he had made some little small error writing on the paper or whatever. So
Right.
Okay.
Josh's son's partner is also Japanese. Does she say eh a lot too?
A little bit, yeah. I think she tries not to, but it still slips out every once in a while.
Yeah. But definitely, like Andrew said too, like it's just that whole TPRS thing where you just have a reaction like whatever I say is the most interesting, exciting thing you've ever heard, eh? And then the confirmation, eh. There's actually a yeah in Japanese that's eh, or a but we haven't learned the yet. But you can say that if you wanted to. It kind of, yeah. Anyways, I won't go into it.
and that's why sometimes I've said so des more than I've said
So des.
because that inflection feels more natural to me as an English
Fair enough.
speaker
So
to go,
this.
oh, so this.
Right. You'll develop your Japanese self through practice. And more if you get to practice with native speakers, you'll become your Japanese self.
Okay.
More polite and yeah, definitely interested. And you'll notice too, like it's my habit still, even though I haven't been there for 5 years, I still, when someone's talking, I nod to show I'm listening.
Mhm.
And I'm like this, and I read somewhere that when people over nod, it means, yes, I understood what you're saying and I'm done listening. But I was like, oh, that's not what I mean. I'm just listening. So anyways.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I
Mhm.
guess I never heard about that nuance
Yeah.
of overreacting as well.
Eh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Watch the
Just
reality
don't.
shows. It's real. It really is reality.
Just don't talk on the train.
Yeah, that too. Watch Terrace House. You'll see. If you can stand it.
What's that?
Terrace House. If you watch that, you'll see examples of the uso,
Terrace
hondo, You'll see. Alrighty. Kurasu,
はい。
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 ジョージはどこに行きましたか? Oh, sorry. I'm totally adding
Chicago.
past tense. 行きますか?
シカゴ。
シカゴ。はい、そうです。ジョージはシカゴに行きます。
Okay.
え本当
Nathanさん?
そうです。
Yeah. 本当? That's my
そうです。
favorite. When I first went there, everybody said 本当? Which means really? And that was like my first favorite reaction word. 本当? 本当に?
本当。本当。
嘘。
Uso, yeah, uso. Uso means no way. It literally means that's a lie, but it kind of translates no way. Uso. Alrighty. Nathan-san.
はい。
あなたはシカゴに行きますか?
いいえ、私はシカゴに行きません。
おー、上手です。そうですね。あなたはシカゴに行きません。皆さん。
はい。
はい。
ネイサンさんはシカゴに行きません。
え
ブランドンさん、
はい。
あなたはシカゴに行きますか?
私はシカゴに行きます。
お、行きます。おー、
そうですか？
そうですか。
本当
本当？Exactly. 本当？嘘。おー、皆さん、
はい。
は
はいい。
ブランドンさんはシカゴに行きます。
え
すごい。ジョージはシカゴに行きます。ブランドンさんはシカゴに行きます。おお、面白いです。ジャッシュさん、
はい。
誰がシカゴに行きますか?
ジョージはシカゴに行きます。
はい、そうです。ジョージはシカゴに行きます。ナイスジョブ、上手です。ニコーさん、
はい。
ジョージしかシカゴに行きませんか? What did I ask you?
Does George only go to Chicago?
Right.
知りません。
おー、そうですか。知りません。What does 知りません mean?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Exactly. 知りません means I don't know because it feels shitty to not know. 知りません。
Indeed.
So Brandon さんはシカゴに行きます。 Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu. Nathan-san wa Chicago ni ikimasen. Andrew-san wa Chicago ni ikimasu ka?
いいえ、シカゴに行きません。
お、そうですね。あなたはシカゴに行きません。だって、アンドリューさんはオーストラリアにいます。
はい、そうです。
シカゴは
そうですか？
遠いです。そうですね。マーヴィンさんはシカゴに行きますか？
私はシカゴ行きません。
おお、そうですか。
そうですか？
あなたはシカゴに行きません。そうですか。
はい。
マットさんはシカゴに行きますか？
はい。私はシカゴに行きます。
おお、
うん
そうですか。じゃあ、マットさんはシカゴに行きます。ブランドンさんはシカゴに行きます。そして、ジョージさんも、what does mo mean?
Also,
Also, ジョージさんもシカゴに行きます。おお、そうですか。
Oh.
ジョ
So
ージ
that
は、
um,
oh, go ahead. Yes, Nathan さん。
so what you just said was a question I had earlier.
Ooh, yes.
Brandon, Georgie to Brandon mo, Brandon to met mo Chicago. Oh, I just answered it. Chicago ni ikimasu. Okay, yeah, that's where you put the mo. Okay.
that'd be the
Okay.
last.
So if
For
I,
some reason, I was thinking the mo would go Chicago mo ni. Well, I guess if it was Chicago,
so if they're going
that
to
if there are multiple
Chicago,
cities,
yes,
yeah, okay,
exactly.
then you would say the cities first. Chicago, blah 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 blah.
Right,
Mo.
and you would say Nemo,
Nemo. Oh,
like you're finding Nemo,
Finding
and all
Nemo.
these cities also goes to Chicago. But Brandon told Mashu, Mashu.
That's
oh,
why
that's
it's
my
ni.
favorite.
That's why it's Niwa. Mm.
Mashu. There's a Japanese guy who had I don't think he has it anymore, but he used to have his English name was Mashu, and he'd have the show, and he was hilarious. He's still funny, but he's like, yeah, he kind of slowly is retiring. So Brandon to Mashu to Joji mo Chicago ni ikimasu, because I'm saying all of them, but I don't
Right.
have to say mo. I can just say wa Chicago ni ikimasu. It's okay.
Mm.
Brandon-san.
はい。
あなたはシカゴのどこに行きますか？
私はシカゴのlike a chocolate store に行きます。
おー、そうですか。
そうですか？
あなたはシカゴの chocolate store に行きます。Which chocolate store do you want to go to, Brandon? You want to go to like the M&M store, C's Chocolates? Is there a special one in Chicago? I don't know.
I have no idea.
All right.
Chicago chocolate store.
Chicago chocolate store.
It's a
All
special.
right.
There's a new brand of chocolate, Chicago chocolate.
なるほど。OK。じゃあ、Brandon さんはシカゴのシカゴ chocolate store に行きます。Why am I putting a no and doing this gesture in between Chicago and Chicago chocolate store?
The store is in Chicago.
Exactly. Nice job, Marvin-san. Chicago, no, it becomes possessive. It belongs to Chicago. It's a part of Chicago. Yeah, Chicago, no, Chicago chocolate store. Ni ikimasu. Oh, 面白い。はい、マシュさん。
はい。
あなたはシカゴのどこに、oh, sorry, that's the wrong name, に行きますか？
私はシカゴのダンキンドーナツに行きます。
おー、なるほど。そうですか。じゃあ、マーシーさんはシカゴのダンキンドーナツに行きます。皆さん、
はい。
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 誰がシカゴのチョコレートストアに行きますか？
ブランドン
Brandon さん。
ブランドンは、
私、
ブランドンさん。
ブラン
そうですね
ドンさん。。
そうですね。ブランドンさんはシカゴのチョコレートストアに行きます。はい、ニコルさん。
So why are you saying dare ga, but then the answer has wa?
Nice job. That is awesome that your ears heard that. So when I ask a question, I say, instead of dare wa, we say dare ga. It's just how you ask a question. So nani ga, blah, blah, blah. Dare
That's always
ga,
the questions.
doko. Well, doko is ni usually because it's the direct. Yeah. But for nani, dare, yeah, we take a good job at listening. Yeah. So if you ever ask questions, you can try and use that one too. Yeah. But when you answer, you say Georgie wa. Yeah. Nice
Is
job.
it because in Korean the reason is because the ga is who, what, or which is doing the verb. So you're asking dare ga blah 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 blah. Like
So
who
it's
is
exactly the same?
yeah. I don't know. I'm just
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just wondering if it's similar. It's not totally
I'm
similar
assuming it is.
because when you said Coca-Cola ga hoshi desu or hoshi kunai desu, there's another article or another particle in Korean that we would use, rer, that's used for the object. So,
Ooh,
but it
almost
looks like the
maybe
ga's,
it's easier in Japanese.
yeah, it is. I think so because you only have the two, wa and ga,
Mhm.
and there are three in Korean.
Interesting. All right. With your vowels and all of that fun stuff.
Well, that too, yeah, pronunciation rules.
Yeah. All right. So
But yeah, I think it's just
Brandon.
because it's the who or what or which is doing the verb.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Brandon-san wa Chicago no chocolate store ni ikimasu. 誰がシカゴのダンキンドーナツに行きますか？
マシュは、
はい、
マシュさ
そうです。マシュは
マシ
シ
ュが
カゴのダンキンドーナツに行きます。Andrew-san, do you know what Dunkin' Donuts is?
It's a donut store. We don't have it. I don't believe we have it in Australia, but yeah,
You've heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Krispy
Okay.
Kreme's is better. Sorry.
How about Josh-san? Have you heard of Dunkin' Donuts before?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think there's a few in Canada anyway.
Because you're on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
You
that
have
makes
Tim
sense.
Hortons. Tim Hortons, I think, is actually better.
Yeah.
Maybe
We don't
that's where
have,
Josh is going.
there are no Tim Hortons here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
well,
are a
it is-
billion Dunkin' Donuts in Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
And only
know
a
if
couple
I've
Krispy
seen it.
Kremes, but
Oh, 面白い.
I saw no Dunkin' Donuts in Japan, but hundreds and hundreds of 7-Elevens.
Oh yeah, definitely. They
yeah,
own
we have that
7-Eleven.
too.
Spain,
Okay.
Spain has a Dunkin' Donuts knockoff called Duck and Bagels. I'm not even kidding. Ridiculous.
With
You
further
must,
research, I found out. Sorry. With further research, I found out that there are a few branches of Dunkin' Donuts in Australia. So yeah, we do have it in Australia.
Road trip.
Yeah.
His next Facebook post is going to be Dunkin' Donuts. I know it.
I think the
No,
drinks
no.
are probably better than the donuts.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
They have good
Okay.
coffee.
In
Right.
Japan, they have Mr. Donuts. That's the place to go. And they're
Oh, right.
adorable.
Kyota.
Misuda Donatsu. All right. Josh-san.
はい。
誰が This is my gesture for 誰。誰がシカゴに行きますか？
いいえ、私はシカゴに行きません。
お
うん
あなたはシカゴに行きません。誰がシカゴに行きますか？
ジョージはシカゴに行きます。
そうですね。ジョージはシカゴに行きます。Nice job. Josh さん。
はい。
クラス Can you hear what that sounds like? クラス It means class. クラス I used to call everyone クラス before I switched to 皆さん
Okay.
because クラス is a cognate. It sounds like, well, kind of sounds like class in English. So, クラスで or クラスの中. Have I taught you guys 中 before?
No.
No.
Okay. So I'm going to say class no dare. So this is class. 2 C's in a group. Class no dare. What do you think that means?
Who's in
Who-
class?
Yeah,
Of
who
the
in
class.
class? Who in class? Class no dare ga Chicago ni ikimasu ka? So I'm going to ask that to Josh. Josh-san, kurasu no dare ga Chicago ni ikimasu ka?
Brandon-sanはシカゴの行きます。
Right?
Nathan-san?
Matthew.
いいえ、
Matthew-san? Matthew-san はシカゴに行きます。
Oh, 上手です。完璧。
So
So, kurasu no Brandon to Matthew. To means and. I don't know if I've ever taught that, but to, and I just do this. Starts with a T, looks like a T, looks like a plus sign. So and to. So Brandon to Mashu or Matthew wa Chicago ni ikimasu. Georgie mo Chicago ni ikimasu. Andrew-san, do you have any questions? No? Okay. I feel like your teacher brain is working, so I want to check, but if you have questions, you can ask me at the end too. All right. Let's see. Marvin-san.
hi.
Actually, first let me just do a quick describe the situation, then I'll have you describe the situation. So, Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu. Mashu to Brandon-san mo Chicago ni ikimasu. Andrew wa Chicago ni ikimasen. Nathan-san mo Chicago ni ikimasen. Josh wa Chicago ni ikimasen. Nicole wa Chicago ni ikimasen. Marvin-san wa Chicago ni ikimasen. Sensei wa Chicago ni ikimasen. All right, so Marvin-san, will you give me 2 people, describe 2 people?
Okay. Nathan-san to Nicole-san ni. I'll start that over. Nathan-san to or mo. Nicole-san wa no mo. Nathan-san to Nicole-san mo Chicago mo Ikimasen.
はい、そうですよ。Nathan さんと Nicole さんも I need a sign for mo. This is mo, like also in ASL, but I need like a if you knew what the letters look like, you could do that. But Nathan さんと Nicole さんも I'll just do this for right now. も Chicago に行きます。上手です。ありがとう、Marvin さん。Josh さん。
はい。
説明をして、go ahead and pick two people.
So Brandon さんは Matthew さんもシカゴに行きます。
はい、そうですね。Brandon さんと Matthew さんもシカゴに行きます。Nice job. Already. Do you have time to go into a breakout room or do you have to go? Breakout rooms. All right, I'm going to put you in a breakout room. I want you to talk about who's going where. You can pick a place that you're going to. Also, what do you want or what do you not want or what do you only want? Okay, so go ahead and talk. I'll put you in for 2 minutes. So in the middle, you'll get a 1-minute warning. Stay there and keep talking until it bumps you back. Okay? And if you have any questions, you can let me know. All right, here we go. Terashai. You can say itekimasu. I forgot to teach you that too. There should be a little join button on the bottom. Yep, perfect. So if you're watching this, go ahead and talk to yourself for 1 minute or 2. Oopsies. All right, so now they will be there for 1 minute. And now I'm going to pretend I'm your partner and I'm going to talk to you. So, 私はコーヒーしか欲しくないです。でも、ニコールはお茶と水が欲しいです。マシュもお茶と水が欲しいです。ネイサンはコカ・コーラが欲しくないです。ジョージはコカ・コーラしか欲しくないです。だから、ジョージはシカゴに行きます。ブランドンもシカゴに行きます。ブランドンはシカゴのチョコレートストアに行きます。Hello. I'm just doing describe the situation for my people who are watching the video. Alrighty, how did you do, Okairi? Okairi means welcome back.
Tadaima. Tadaima.
Come home or return to your office or wherever you just say tadaima. And I think of it as saying like, telling your mom, I have news that you are to die for news. Tadaima. Tadaima means I'm back. So when you come back, you can say tadaima, and I will say okaeri, which is welcome back. Do you want to try it?
Kind of sounds like, ta-da, I'm here.
Tadaima!
Tadaima. Yep.
And I heard you say "iterashai" as we left.
Yeah, iterashai means see ya, goodbye.
Be
like,
careful.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, iterashai.
Take care. Yeah.
And then when you come back, you say tadaima, and then whoever greets you says okaeri or okaeri nasai. Yep. All right. So on confidence for speaking with your partner or partners. 5, I could say everything I wanted to say easily. 4, I could say everything I wanted to say without looking at anything. No notes, no slides. I was good. 3, I could say everything I wanted to say with my notes and or slides, even though you probably couldn't see the slides. 2, I could say mostly what I wanted to say with my notes. And 1, this sucks. How would you rank yourself? 4, 4, 4, 3. Okay. And then Nathan-san, probably this. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Alrighty.
I think
But
it was because there were 3 of us that I wanted more time.
yeah, you didn't get enough time. Yeah, so Nathan's partner left in the middle, so I bumped him into another room. Alrighty, any feedback for me? What did I do to help you learn today? What would you like more practice with? What felt a little too fast or too confusing? How did I help? Marvin-san, I think you're talking to me, but you're on mute.
The explanations that you gave to those questions I had of words we've been speaking for 6 weeks. Very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it just takes time until you start to feel comfortable in the sentence patterns, and then you start, oh, by the way, what does wa mean? And what does ni mean? And what is ga? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking
Usage.
those questions.
Well,
I thought it was a bit fast for me,
Ooh,
this class.
today felt pretty fast. Mhm.
I think it was, well, I'm thinking you guys went over the details for ga hoshi this, at least beforehand, or at least that's
Yeah.
not the first time doing that.
Right.
But at least for introducing the ikimasu, I felt like I wanted to do more just focusing on one character first and then getting the yes, he went there, no, he did not go there, yes, or like who went there? George went to Chicago.
Oh, that's a good point. More circling for this sentence before I start doing the triangling and the describe the situation.
And that's
Yeah.
even, way before introducing a second person.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Because I felt like it was hard for me to remember all the details so fast and then at the same time try and put together the sentence. Yes, he did go there,
Gotcha.
no, he didn't go there, and things like that.
Oh, thank you for telling me that, because you're right. I was thinking, oh, we've done this before. So it's halfway review, halfway learn. So I went fast, but I really appreciate that. And I do need to slow down. And plus we have 3 new people, so I definitely should have slowed down. So thank you. I appreciate your feedback. Hi, Anderson.
Yeah, I really like the cultural explanations that you had. So with the air and the whole the usage of tadaima, okaeri, and also iterashai. So I think those little cultural parts is great, especially during a TPRS lesson, because sometimes people say that TPRS isn't very cultural in terms of teaching what culture is, but I think having those little bits is great. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
yes, so this.
It's very participatory too. So I think even I would definitely like to do the Tadaima just to practice with you and everybody in this class.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun thing about online. That's one of the good things is that you can do those little, like, I'm leaving, I'm returning. And actually, Yuya and I have been thinking about making some of the phrases in here more culturally to Japanese versus just translating from Spanish or English into Japanese. So, Andrew, especially as we go through, or as you go through, if you get a chance to look at these, maybe we can add you to this and maybe you can give us some feedback back on how to add more culture as well, because that's definitely something that's really important to me. Yeah.
Can we try that right now with the Okairi Tadaima and then the Itekimasu, Iterashai?
Want to go into a breakout room again?
No, just in the, as a class here.
Yeah, sure. All right, so in Japanese, when you are going to leave, so I guess you guys can pretend and move out of your camera, but you say itekimasu. So itekimasu, what does it sound like? I'm gonna take, I must itekimasu, itekimasu, but that's, I'm gonna go and I'll come back. I'm gonna go and return. That's the literal translation, but it's just like when you're about to leave your house, itekimasu, and then you say I say iterashai, and then when you come back, you say okaeri, and then I say, or no, you say tadaima, and I say okaeri. Now I'm mixing them all up. I have a cute little cartoon that I've used in my classes. Can I put that into your guys' reading, and then can we do it more next week? Is that okay? Then I can have it all so that you guys can actually see it instead of remembering these phrases.
Right.
Okay. I'll put that in my notes.
Shitsuri shimast.
Itsureshimasu. Yep.
I think
Iteki
way...
also means I'm itekimasu literally means I'm going and coming back. So ite is a form of ikimasu, and kimasu means to come. So I go and come.
Itekimasu.
One way that
Wata.
Craig helps with this as well is he always puts time and gets suggestions, or I guess getting suggestions from students for sound associations with the words.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like maybe itekimasu kind of sounds like eat. I'm gonna go out and eat some keikis.
Itekimasu. You're gonna eat keikis?
Eat keikis. Yeah, maybe that's closer to it. Yeah, eat keikis. That sounds better.
I don't know. Eat keikis or whatever teikis are. I don't know.
I'm gonna go out and eat keikis. Eat keikis.
Or like if you think of like takeout, eating takeout because you go and get it and you return to your house.
Eat teikimasu. Oh, I'm gonna go eat teikis. Take you out though. Take out. Eat teiki. Okay. I'm writing this down. Eat teiki.
Going to eat, take out more. That's what I see, mas for like more.
Oh, teikimasu.
Take out more.
Or I must do it.
And then we can say iterashai.
Iterashai. I say iterashai, which is iterashai.
Take care. See you.
Yeah. Iterashai. Take care. Iterashai. And then when you come back, you say tadaima, and then I say okaeri, which is welcome back.
Oh yeah, tadaima. I still think about tada, I'm here.
Tada,
and then if you leave, can you say matane?
Matane. That's
like I'm going to the matinee. Goodbye.
Matinee. I'm going to the matinee. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, matinee is
something I picked up is that a lot of people will come to Japanese and think sayonara is just like the way to say goodbye. But my understanding of it is it's like a really like dramatic final goodbye. It's only reserved for like, this is the end, sayonara. You wouldn't say it. Like, I'll see you later.
A long parting.
I'll never see you again.
Yeah. Sayonara would be like, yeah, whenever you say, you have that feeling of like, see you next year, or I'm going off to war, goodbye, or it was great being your host student, but I'll see you whenever I see you again. Like, yeah, sayonara. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, usually you just say mata ne, see you later, mata ne,
What's the name?
mata ashita, mata asatte, mata raishu, mata plus whatever you'll see them. Yeah, but mata ne. Yeah. How about the slides? Do you like them, or it doesn't really make a difference, or?
I'd like to see the question words in kanji and hiragana.
This is the Romaji ones. The kanji ones do have it. They have it with kanji when they have the kanji, and they have the furigana on top. But these ones don't. But okay. Anybody else would like to see them in kanji? Yeah. Okay, that's good to know.
And
we're
then
doing a big
the
edit.
little chart is also not in Japanese letters.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
it's
just
because
the
it's the
charts in
Romaji
Romaji.
one.
Yeah.
I want it to be easy access for the people that are just seeing Japanese for the very first time.
Right.
But if you want to have them in,
Well, I
kanji,
think you still have all the Romaji
all here.
above. So you just have the you do whatever you want. If it were me doing them, I would have always Japanese letters would be the biggest focal point, and they would take up the most space of everything. And then the Romaji would be visible and it would be above everything as a support, so that the people that need the Romaji because they've never seen the characters before have it there. But it's not in the center. It's not the focus of everything. So the table just doesn't have any Japanese, and the question words as well.
Yeah. So one thing too, and this is just because I am making them, but this is the present tense story, but the past tense story has present positive, present negative, past positive, and past negative. And we're even thinking of doing casual form, and I have some students that want Kansai dialect. So these charts right now, they take up a quarter
space,
of the screen.
Right.
So I kind of decided, for me, just the Romaji slides have the question words in Romaji and these in Romaji, because it's not my focus. This is what I want you to learn how to read and say. But it is good feedback, and I'm curious
'Cause
what
I also
teachers-
feel like as students, as a student myself, I spend a lot more time looking at the charts and the question words than I do at the actual sentence.
Good
So,
point.
Um,
Good point. Me too. Because
It would
that's what I
be-
look at when I make
because
my
I'm
sentences
building
and
because
think,
I'm
yeah.
building things. So, I as a s- my as a student, I want to be able to speak and use and read and write the language as authentically as possible. So I like to have as much of that available to me as a student, so that I don't have to do extra work outside of class to acquire something that's really challenging. So the more time I spend looking at the authentic language in class, the less work I have to do outside of class to acquire that on my own. So, I can do that outside of class, but
Yeah,
so
I hear you. And I definitely have students in my high school classes, and even in my middle school classes, I had students who they just want to learn how to read and they just want to learn how to write. Like, that is their focus. But I think the majority of my students are like, yeah, Japanese is cool, I'm here. And then they're like, oh my gosh, what are these characters? Where's the Romaji? Oh, okay, Romaji. Like, this makes them feel at ease. But I can try and
Right.
and see
you
what
know,
it looks like and see what you
Right.
guys think. What do you guys, anyone else who reading the characters isn't your number one priority? Is it good to have it like this, or would you rather have the characters? What do you think?
I think
It's
I
good to-
would rather have the characters, but I think if I had to pick one thing to have it on, I think the negative would be really good to have it, because you can see, like, for the ikimas, it's in the sentence, but it's the negatives like almost never in the sentence. So we like never see that. And so I feel like I don't know, if even if you could just put like the like ending of it or whatever, like right below it or something, I feel like if there was one thing I would add characters to, it would be to the ikimasen, or even just to the sen.
That's interesting.
Right. Because we
Does that
never
make
see the
sense?
sen.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
it's not anywhere else on the slide like the positive is.
right.
Right.
It used to only be the negative. It would be the opposite. So if this sentence was negative, the positive would be here. And if this
Right.
sentence was positive, then the negative. But when I'm in Spanish class, I look at this all the time, like Nathan is saying. That's how
Yeah.
I create my sentences. I look at this once, I understand it, I'm good. But when I want to start making sentences for myself, I look at this. So that's why I decided to add the positive and negative no matter what the sentence is.
Right.
But you're right. If I put this in the same characters as this, because it's the same, I wonder if that would help build literacy faster, or if it would just like
Yeah.
turn people off. That's I'm
And-
worried mostly about my high school students.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
if
Right.
I want them to all feel like it's so easy and they can just do this and they're just amazing and they're just getting language. I don't want anything to slow them down or to put up that effective filter. That's my biggest thing. But Marvin, what were you going to say? I'm curious what you were thinking.
I just was agreeing with Nicole that I think that just seeing the characters that are added to make it negative somewhere would be a little helpful. And learning those characters is not my primary goal, but it is something I'd like to make part of the whole experience, is to understand them more, be able to pick them out.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, when I've been learning Japanese phrases and vocab and things like that, I will always have it with the the English, the Romaji, the all the characters with the kanji, but then also the reading with the furigana as well. So I'm really just for my own knowledge learning the English and the Romaji so that I know how to say it and I know what the word is. But every time I go through like a flashcard, I will also see the characters and I will see the kanji. And as I repeat that more and more, I'm like, oh, now I can see the character for Nani and recognize that that's what it is. And I can't draw it then, but I at least know that when I'm reading something, if I see that character, I'll recognize it. But for my own kind of like language fluency, I only really need to know like the na, ni, romaji, that means what. And so then I can create sentences like that. So it helps to be able to read and recognize it, but my priority is kind of, I guess, more of the speaking part of it.
I'm in the same boat with you then too, Matthew.
But I mean, I think having all of those things would be the ideal thing, but it seems really tough to pull off on a slide. And
Yeah,
so
this is
without
kind of running into why my slides look the way they do for
Total
my
clutter.
classes, because and why I made everything turn on and off, because you can get so much stuff on one slide to support your students.
Right.
And but Google
Yeah.
Slides has a lot of limitations, so you have to like work around that.
And I do like this where we have like the kind of the core sentence that builds the structure so that even then when we're talking and creating our own sentences, I can look at that sentence, which is not what I'm saying out loud, but that sentence gives me the structure of the sentence so that I can go off and add different parts to it or make negatives out of it or add toes and mo's and things like that. So having that sentence up there front and center is good, and I like having the characters and then the romaji on top. But then because there's a kanji for E, having romaji above that instead of the furigana above it also like breaks my brain a little bit. But it's still I do like that where the romaji is up top and the English is on bottom.
What part breaks your brain? This kanji or having an E instead of an E, like a hiragana?
Right. Instead of like the furigana up there.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the only, kanji, I guess, in that sentence.
Right.
So I'm used to seeing no romaji up there and then just furigana when there's a kanji.
Right.
Different stuff than
But
what we're doing.
But I like this way a lot, actually, where there's the romaji in English and also the main Japanese reading in the middle. Because that helps me recognize the characters when I see them later. But then there's also the romaji to be able to speak based on the phonetics of it. So I like that a lot.
And type.
Yeah. This is our typing romaji with the line and all of that. And then we don't have a name in here with a small vowel, but in our story, Marvin's name has a small vowel. So there's an X in there that kind of throws people off. But yeah, so we actually have 4 versions of these slides. So we have 2 that are in daily script. So it has the furigana on top for the katakana, and it has like the E would have the hiragana on top. So it's called the kana version, and we have a past tense and a present tense. And then we have a past tense and a present tense of the romaji version, and this is the romaji version. So it used to only be like huge romaji, but Nathan-san was teaching Korean, and he had the Korean really big with tiny, not romaji, but romanization. And that made me think like, oh, that's such a good idea. And then also we made it so that, well, it's okay, I can show you with this one. We can take it away and put it back, but it's not exactly like his where I can just do a 1 click, but I can change it so that it's translated for full sentence meaning, like translation, or word for word, literal translation. And then we have the charts, and then I can take them away. It's not perfect yet, but the more feedback I get from you guys, the better. But I do, because there are some teachers that only teach in romaji, so I have to keep the romaji in this one. But if you guys want to switch to the other slideshows where it's all of this and hiragana as furigana, it's called furigana, it's the little hiraganas on top. But I think it's a lot because some people can't read yet. So, sorry.
I like the romaji.
Yeah.
I think it's more comfortable. And if you can read, you'll still get exposure to all of the letters and the kanji. And then you'll just, it is weird to look up and see the furigana in romaji, not actual hiragana, but I figure the fact that this now is the main thing to look at, and this is just some gray letters in the background, kind of trains your eyes to be like, oh, I remember Chicago from the last slide. Oh, there it is again. Okay, well, that's the exact same slide, but here it is again. Oh, and you start to recognize, it starts with a smiley face and things like that.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Japanese is that the romaji, for the most part, makes sense.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
with Korean, you have to learn the Korean writing system because the English letters are confusing. They hinder more than they help you to speak Korean. So
yeah, well, I think
that's
once you
where
get
this
used
whole
to
like
it.
That's where this whole romaji above the letters originated from, was the fact that in Korean, using Roman letters just really doesn't help you as a Korean language learner.
Well, it
And
always
so
will
I put
help
them
someone.
above.
It'll always help someone who can't read anything, because otherwise you're just looking at squiggles.
Right,
And
right.
everybody needs that hook when you're first learning. But once you
Mhm.
start to get used to it, then you're ready to learn how to read. And Korean, how many letters are there?
There's
Like 40
20 something,
oh,
20. I can't remember the number, but
close to English. So once you learn how to read, you can learn how to read. I think writing
Yeah.
is harder, but reading, yeah, just depends, I guess, on the language.
yeah, it's because the Roman letters, you get all sorts of double consonants, and then you get the vowels mashed together that don't sound like the vowels, and it's just
Yeah.
it hinders your English brain more than is good for you, versus Japanese, where for the almost 90% of the time it looks like it sounds,
Yeah.
the English letters. So
Yeah.
Here's I've got a suggestion they could try out. Maybe, and I guess what you would do is just stick to the furigana, and then be really open to questions for how would you pronounce this exactly, how would you pronounce that word, and then once somebody asks it, then you would go, okay, this one, and then that's where you type in the romaji.
So I need to see an example. So you would start like this and ask someone to read it?
Well, I guess you would introduce it first, and then I guess as you introduce the sentence, so like Georgie, so class Georgie wa Chicago, and you're going through with your mouse, Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu, like and then you ask them again, like, hey class, Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu ka, and everybody goes, hi, Georgie wa Chicago ni ikimasu, and then you repeat it again as you keep on reading it. So maybe that would help out. But then maybe once you go into circling, somebody would start to ask, like, oh, how do you say that exactly? And then you can scaffold it with your annotation and say,
That is
like, George.
exactly what Craig said. He said, teach this way, and then when you start to circle, you could keep it like this for circling, but as soon as you start triangling, you add this. And you don't say anything, you just do it. And you just triangle in, and then if they need it, they'll look at it, but if they don't, they won't. The more and more comfortable you get, the more and more this kind of just disappears.
I think Brandon was maybe saying for when you move to triangling, to then add the furigana up there. But I still feel like the romaji, especially for our kind of mixture of backgrounds and like comfort with kana in general, I think having the romaji, even if you just withhold it until a certain time, I think is helpful, just to be able to like produce new speech and make sure that you're like tracking the right syllables and the right phonemes and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe he was saying that you just type. So if a student is having trouble with the word ni and only ni, then you use the annotation feature on Zoom, and then you just write ni only above the ni,
right.
and you don't.
You just did it. I just picked the
else.
same color too. That was so funny. Yeah, I get it.
I think that's what he was saying. But that's,
definitely.
I mean, sometimes when you're in class, that doesn't work smoothly, and
yeah, I think it really depends too on who your students are. So I think with us, like Matthew is saying, like with mixed levels, like some of you guys can read all of this. You don't need any furigana, hiragana, romaji, it doesn't really matter. And then some of you guys are only reading romaji because this isn't what your goal is right now. Right now you're focused on listening and speaking and communicating that way. And then some people hate having the romaji on top, and I totally understand that too. Yeah. My thing is always help whoever needs the most help, and then provide more for the people that don't need it. But this class, I think, is my, how do you say it, like the most different. How to differentiate. Yeah, most diverse. Yeah.
Disparate.
And providing differentiation can be tough. I think having Nathan-san doing the stories for us, where they look like, if I can click on my screen, they look like this, is really nice, because then you can at least practice reading these, and then if you need to, you can look up to read, oh yeah, that's a ka, and then keep looking down and reading these. I think it's helpful that it's not color coordinated too, because it kind of just, it's this light color that's kind of in the background. There's one more thing and I can't remember. Oh, and having the cold character reading videos helps strengthen. First, some people just listen to it to comprehend and get the meaning. And then some people start reading them and watching them for literacy. And I think when you start to watch them for literacy, you are building up your reading skills, and then the less and less you'll be looking at these romaji. Yeah.
Oh, and Missy, can I show you something?
Yeah, of course.
I guess on my slide here.
Yeah.
Let's see, because I want to show you something about how I color the text on my Cantonese here.
Oh yeah, that's something Craig just was talking about too, making. So,
originally, I started just like you, with just the what we call the Yut Ping, which is just the kind of a well, not really a romanization, but like a certain system from Yale, or I forget what the other one was. And then they started asking for the characters, so I put the characters, and then eventually it's like, okay, I learned color coding.
oh yeah. For the
and
tones.
then I would eventually put the Yut Ping lighter, at least, and this is the stage that we're in right now. So the Yut Ping is in a lighter, you call it like lighter opacity than the characters now. And I'm hoping that would help just give more focus to the characters, and then eventually I can try and like really phase out, or maybe just have it really light.
Right. And I'll even say I can't read any of that, but just my own brain likes the way it looks better with the characters, the big focus. When you had all of the Roman letters in the first earlier slides, because I'm an English speaker, my brain looks at that and it's like, what the hell is that? Like, I can't make any sense. Like I can't make any sense of that. And I'm sure that, if you said it to me, I would grasp onto it. But that tells me from the very beginning that I'm adding an extra step for my students. Like, it's support to have that there above, like you do later, but it's Cantonese, and the language uses those characters. And so having that be the focus and having that be the biggest thing, and then having the support be the support and not the focus, I think is just really critical.
Is that like the
teacher.
Pinyin for Mandarin?
Yeah,
Pinyin,
yeah, that's
Huanyin.
the Yut Pinyin. They would call it the Yut Ping.
Yut Ping.
But
Yeah,
the thing with Cantonese though is spoken Cantonese you don't usually see written. So I'm still I need to talk to other people exactly how they teach it, because things like this character right here, you would you would only hear about it.
You would never see it.
In newspapers, you wouldn't see this.
Okay, I have to go to work. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Nathan-san.
Matane.
Matane.
Tomorrow for our meeting.
Yeah,
Don't
see you
forget.
tomorrow. I won't.
いってらっしゃい。
Arigato gozaimasu. Matane.
That's that.
Yeah, that reminds me of Alex's Indonesian classes a little bit, because you know how there's like words that you can eliminate, but he still puts the long version. So maybe if you did parentheses around the non-written words, I don't know. That's kind of like the fun thing right now, because we all get to create our own versions for our own languages, and they're all different, but there are definitely things that we can borrow from each other as we go. And I thought about what you're doing too, of doing this too, like where you phase it through, where you start out all Romaji and then you slowly switch so that the Romaji is just a little support and then without it. But that's so hard to do when I want other teachers to be able to use this. So I have to make it universal and editable so that any teacher that, let's say like I have a class and they're like, oh, we don't want any of that Romaji on top, or we only need Romaji over the kanji. We don't want any Romaji over katakana or hiragana. So they can go in and delete it. They don't need to have it in there. And maybe they hate having the literal translation. So like George is under George, Chicago is under Chicago. They can just delete that whole bar if they hate it. Or if they hate having, like in my class on Tuesday, they don't like the translation for meaning, like the sentence for sentence interpretation. So I just skip through it really fast so they don't even have to look at it. So yeah, but I'm really thinking now about those little verb boxes. I was thinking these are the Romaji slides, so they should just be in Romaji, but why do I think that? And why can't I give them Romaji for the hiragana? Because they do have Romaji for the hiragana in the sentence or the kanji in the sentence. So it's really hard to think why is my brain telling me I should do it this way?
I think it's good to have the Romaji in the boxes, like, because when you changed it and you put where it has like the characters and then the Romaji just for the sen,
Yeah.
right? I was actually thinking more the opposite, like having ikimasu in the Romaji, having ikimasen in the Romaji, and then under it, like filling in the rest of ikimasen, and then leaving the characters under ikimasen, so that you have both in the Romaji and just the negative in the characters, because you already have a reference for the positive in the sentence.
So
if
like
that makes sense.
Ikimasu, I'm not sure. So ikimasu is like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then
like if you're trying to save space, then I was thinking that like if I only wanted one thing, then it would be the negative, because there's no other place to see that on this slide. So if you're like if you're coming at it from like a space saving like place, I guess.
right.
But I don't know, that was just my thought. Because then when you are like making the sentences, I do think you want the Romaji there, because your focus is, if I'm like trying to come up with my original sentence, then I want to be able to look at that and quickly get the like sounds for it in like to be able to say it. So I think the Romaji there is important. But I like having somewhere on the slide that you can also see the negative with the like characters. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I see. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know what your image of what the box looks like. Does it look like this or something different?
Yeah.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
But then if you're doing that and the point is to not repeat the characters for ikimasu because you have it up there, why even type ikimasu go in that table, because you have up there ikimas and the characters and the translation all in the sentence. So then you have ikimasen, not go, which is its own like standalone thing that's just like extra added vocab. But then you need that ikimas above it. Like, does that serve a purpose, do you think, to have that there? Or
I think so.
I think people were
Yeah.
using it like as a reference for like making sentences. But or maybe there's a different place for the sen, like or like I don't know, or maybe it's just not that important, that because I feel like I can like recognize the like positive words in writing more, and I'm still having trouble recognizing that sen piece. But maybe that's just repetition, and that it's just going to come later, and that's okay because I'm not seeing it as much.
Right, and that's normal. That is how it happens. Just oopsies, not for. You just start out knowing the sentence, and then you learn how to do the negative. It's just like in Spanish when your students have to learn the I blah blah blah, he blah blah blah, she blah blah blah, you blah blah blah. You're not really good at it right away, but you slowly, just through hearing your teacher say it and practice it, you kind of just build fluency, I guess.
So maybe it is just best how it was originally before you changed it all the different ways.
Oh no, it's good to just see it. But I just, from seeing that, what I just did and how it's so big, I already know it will be impossible. I'll show you what it looks like on the past tense ones. If I can remember where they're at. They're right here. Slowly. So let's see. I'll show you the kana past. It will be, oh, actually, maybe I do have one. I was trying to think if I have one that I've changed, updated. I think this one is it. So this one is not the same because it's not focused on the verb, because by the time you get to this, you'll know imasen. At least it should be something. Oh, this one isn't the right one. I think I did it on the Romaji version, but either way, but you can see the actual ones are supposed to have a fourth layer in here. And
it's a lot.
Yeah. And especially if the picture has details that are important. There's some stories that it's just covering everything. And so you're going to have to like, well, the teacher will have to like click it and then go back, click, go back, click, go back. But
it makes sense.
Yeah. But also, I'm wondering about taking this. So the reason this is written like this is because it matches with Matthew's readers. Matthew Sensei, he writes Japanese books, and his stories that have kanji and hiragana have katakana words written in English. So Jenny wa, I can't read backwards, Europe.
Me.
But only has hiragana, and I've heard that he made a new version that actually has the kanji and I think katakana as well. So I don't know, because I want to set my students up so that they can read as well, because once we're back in the classroom again, they'll have actual books. But I don't know. I think I just need more input from what Japanese teachers expect and want. And then, of course, what works well with students. Number one is, what do my students need and how can I help them the best? And then two, and maybe equally as important, almost equally important, is to make it universal for all Japanese teachers. But I don't know. Andrew-san, what do you think? I know you have young students, but do you have rules on Romaji and stuff like that?
So like that was a very huge conflict with me because, as you know, many teachers prefer to not use Romanization because I think the students will be too dependent on it.
Right.
So I did ask my principal with that one. So he did that for my performance review. He just said, just leave the hard stuff to the high school teachers and just go with the easy stuff and add the Romaji, because my philosophy is I want to try and make all my kids successful, and
Me
if
too.
they are too anxious to read in hiragana, they're not going to succeed. So if they feel like they have the memorization, to just hold their hand, and then, you know, Japanese tends to be that kind of language that holds your hand,
Right.
no matter what script you use. Yeah, it will be great if the kids can feel that's kind of success. So that's what I think. But for me, in regards to TPRS, like the look, I can look. The LICT PowerPoints, like with the younger years, I'm having that big conflict of whether it's appropriate for them or not. So I've joined the elementary TPRS group and seeing how that goes. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I know of some teachers in Australia that only use Romaji, and that's one of the reasons that I made the 4 versions too, instead of just having it, because originally, if it was just me, and before I ever heard that there were teachers that only taught Japanese through Romaji, and I'm assuming it's Australian elementary, but I don't know for sure. But for those, I originally just had Romaji. I didn't even have any Japanese characters, but then, you know, just slowly through seeing other teachers teach other languages and having so many students tell me, I want to read. I don't care about this stupid Romaji. I just want to read. So hard to meet everybody's needs. But I think this feels close, and it feels like it would be really comfortable for the students that are just like, you're lucky I'm even trying to speak Japanese, like reading, no way. But of course, they also get cold character videos, and they get their stories written like Nathan does. So their stories look like this. And some of them tell me, like, I don't want to look at that. And I said, well, then just copy it and take off the Romaji and practice reading it without it. And then their tests look like this with no Romaji. And if they can't read it, then they just let me know, and then I'll give them the Romaji. But yeah. So I'm trying to build up literacy, but always provide this so they feel safe, because I know when I get asked a question in my classes and I don't know and I panic, I'm like, whoa, Georgie, and I'm just trying to read anything that I can read on the slide. So I don't know.
Hey Misty, have you joined the Japanese Teachers Australia group? I can invite you on that
No.
one. Yeah,
Yes,
I know that.
invite me.
I know Matthew's on that. Like that has plenty of good resources for language learning rather than language acquisition. But if you want to have a check and see what this whole group is about, I would like to invite you.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Thank you. Yeah, I had no idea. Like, I have Australian friends. I met them all in Japan, and they always talked about like how they learned Japanese in elementary school, but I had no idea how popular Japanese was in Australia until recently. That's awesome. I'm moving to Australia. Just kidding. But yeah.
Gonna head
Alrighty.
out.
Okay, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all of your feedback, and it's all recorded too, so other teachers, whoever are watching, they can give their feedback too. And Brandon, thank you so much. I think that's so cool how you're scaffolding your Cantonese to help your students be successful. That's so cool.
I don't know. I mean, I'm still, yeah. I guess I've got different issues from yours in Japanese, just because I know we're focused on speaking, and nobody's really asked me about reading.
Yeah, that's
Because I've
normally
also
what
had.
mine is, but this class loves reading, and Jing's class loves reading. And I'm like, oh, I've never had a whole class like this before.
But actually, I guess my readings are, they have the Yut Ping on top, but then I guess I'm the only one reading it, just so they get more used to the pronunciation still. So I haven't really had them read the readings, just translate. But like I for me, I guess the Cantonese unique issue is because I'm also learning the language still right now, and so like I wouldn't be able to teach them reading right now because it's like that switches over almost to like a Mandarin kind of Mandarin characters and words, but just with like a Cantonese phonetics. So.
Have you met Young Lee from this class?
Yeah, she introduced herself to me on Facebook, and
oh, good.
I haven't gotten to talk too much to her yet, though.
Yeah, she's a Cantonese teacher as well, or she's starting to teach Cantonese through TPRS. She made a video. Have you seen it before?
She sent me the link to it.
Okay.
And it's just when I first watched it, I realized how loud Cantonese people can actually be. Like, wow.
Yes.
Because my mom and dad aren't like that at all. And I think maybe it's because they're in the U.S. or they've been living in the U.S. for so long.
That's funny because usually in Japan, people always say like, oh my gosh, why are you yelling to me? Because I'm so loud. But I think that's my personality too, but that's so funny. Yeah. They're always like, shh, okay, you can tell me, but just calm down a little. I'm like, okay.
All right, guys, I'm going to head off, all right?
All right, thank you so much for coming, Andrew-san.
はい、また明日。I'll try. 明日行ってみる。はい。
Okay, and then let me know if you want access, and maybe you can help with the cultural